All right. So prisma, what I mean, I explained, not explained, but we talked about this a couple of times already. Prisma, right? So this is just the program, right? The program, and it call it ORM, object relation mapping. So see how it work, right? It will create, basically you define the schema for your database in form of object, something like this, right? We saw that schema here on the top, correct? Something like this. You creating the table, right? Something like this, like you have integer, username, email, password, all this, right? You create. Now the prisma, right, or ORM, what it will do is basically read your schema. It creates the blueprint. Basically it creates the blueprint, right? uh, it does a lot of things. Let's say it creates a blueprint for your database. It helps us to communicate with the database, right? Let's understand in a simple easy way, right? ORM let you easily interact with your database, this one, right, without worrying too much about the underlying syntax. In SQL you have to write a lot of syntax, always get something, update, delete, a lot of query, all the time you have to write, right? But with prisma, it will just give you one file. Basically it will give you one object of your data, right? Like it just read everything and put in one variable, and that variable has access to everything, and that variable, just one variable, have update, create, delete, anything you want to do, right? You can do easily. Okay, so for example, let's look at here. This is normal SQL query language. I mean, select from somewhere, right? If I have to do same thing with the ORM, there will be one object called prisma, basically user. Let's say this is user table, right? Then you're gonna get user from the prisma, and that user has everything now. Like you can call the find method, you can call create, you can call update, you can call delete, whatever, right? So what you want to do now? You want to find somebody, one of the user, you can easily find, right? You want to delete someone, you can do that also. You just use the function here. You just call this one and then use the function, right? And then you perform whatever task here, and it will do the job and give you the value back, right? Stored in a variable, and then you can use that value somewhere. Okay, so that's how it works. We'll see an example later, right? So basically, why ORM, right? Similar, simpler syntax means the code what you're gonna write is very easy, right? It converts object to SQL queries under the hood, right? I mean, even Prisma is writing all this code, but under the hood means it will just do the job for us. We write something in simple language, and Prisma will convert everything in the SQL, and it will do all the job, right, behind the scene. Okay, so we don't have to worry about writing wrong syntax for SQL or anything. Okay, very simple, simpler syntax, simple, right? Next, unified API irrespective of database. Okay, that's difficult to understand, right? Unified API. Let's understand simple with this diagram. Okay, so you write the prisma syntax, right? Basically all your let's call it schema in one place, and plus you use that code to get data, or to create data, or update or delete. You just write one time in the prisma format, right? Now this is like a API. Prisma API or ORM API can be used with any database, MySQL or PostgreSQL or MongoDB, right? This same thing can be used for any of the database. Does not matter. See, in case of MySQL, you have to write a structured query language little bit different, maybe Postgres little bit different. If you write in the SQL format, right? But Prisma will do the job automatically for any one of these database or any other, right? Does not matter. You just write once, it can be used anywhere. So it's now, let's say you have everything created with Prisma. You're gonna change your database from MySQL to Postgres or from Postgres to MongoDB with very minimum configuration, right? It will quickly work. You just just connect your database in one place, and that's it, done, right? So type safety and auto completion, right? So what is that means? So that means okay, so unified API means same API can be used for any database. That is what it means. Type safety and auto completion, what that means, right? So type safety means when you define your Prisma, right, schema, this is a user table, and you define ID, username, email, password, created and updated and right, all that. So you're defining the type of data, you're defining the other constraint or variable here, right? Not variable, but like let's call it like some kind of constraint, some kind of checking, right? You adding here, it should be unique or null, right? What you want to allow to put inside this table, right? Inside this column, okay? So you can define everything here. uh, Type safety means there is a type safety, okay? If this is date, you cannot add something else. String, you cannot add. If this is string, you cannot put number here. So that is type safety. Auto completion. So so what happened, right? When you create this user schema, now you have the Prisma client, okay? The Prisma client will do all the job, right? You have this Prisma client, from this function you're going to get the new client called Prisma, and that Prisma has basically, look at here, prisma.user, right? So you accessing this table easily to create user. So when you writing this, when you calling this Prisma, right? Prisma will give you the option here. Soon you put dot, it will give you all the table from this one. What are the table? You can, like suggestion, right? It will give you automatically. It gives you the function what you want to use: create, update, delete. It gives you the function, right? So it just giving you the option that, okay, what you want to do here is the options, select, you want to create, delete. So this kind of things, right? Prisma has built in auto completion information, right? You get all that suggestions automatically. So that helps, and it just helps write our code quickly, right? You don't have to thinking, oh, what should I, how should I write, create or something like that. It just helps, okay, to write the code. So that was the some simple create, right, create function from the Prisma client. What is client, right? Prisma client, what is Prisma client? Basically, in a Prisma has a client. That client will give you the object, right? It just scan whole your schema, okay? It creates the SQL database, SQL code. It scans all your schema, everything, and stored in one variable. That's it. Think like that, right? So that you can access this variable anywhere in your code and do the CRUD operation, right? In API, basically in the mostly in the API, you're going to be using all this. Also in your code, you will be using, like if you want to do the type checking what we learned in the TypeScript, right? You can do that also using this client. Like for example, here we have written everything, right? Like user string, email string, password string. You can do the type checking also like this, or you can call the user type also inside here and just use that one, right? Will be, that is also fine. So we'll see that during our projects. That is fine. This is just adding some data, automatic migration. What is that means, right? So we create the schema, okay? It's just like creating a schema and converting to the SQL code and all that, right? Connecting to the database. So that is automatic migration. Once you write this schema, right, Prisma will automatically connect to your database. It will create the client for us and migrate your database, right? to the data, I mean migrate your schema to the database automatically. When you write this, there should be a way to connect to your data. This what we write in our code, okay, inside our project, right? But there should be a way to connect this to the database, correct? So Prisma does all that. That is called migration, right? We have to just run one command and it will do the job, right? So automatic migration refers to the process where a database schema is automatically updated to match changes made in the application, right, code without requiring manual intervention. See, you write the schema, it will automatically update our database. Any change, right? I mean, first time you write, maybe later you want to change the schema, you just run the command, right? Prisma, migrate date, like that, and it will automatically make all changes to your database automatically. You don't have to go manually do anything. Okay, so that is the migration. You can read more about this migration things, right? Why, like schema is synchronization, tracking changes, migration is execution, safety and consistency, right? Age of development means, you know it just release a lot of stress, right? Writing, doing a lot of complexity. One command and most of the things is done, right, easily by using this ORM. Okay, so that was the part of ORM, right? What object relation mapping does, but Prisma is object relation mapping software, right? The next generation Node.js and TypeScript ORM. Prisma is what? This is from the Prisma website, right? What is Prisma? So, when you open the Prisma website, you will get this in the front page. Next generation Node.js and TypeScript ORM, object relation mapping program, right? Prisma unlocks a new level of developer experience when working with the database thanks to its intuitive data model, automated migration, type safety, and auto completion, right? So these are the four features which makes Prisma one of the best ORM system, right? So that's how we can call it. Okay. So data model is a single file. What is data model? In a data model in a single file define your schema, right? Data model means how you define all the schema, right? Means all the table in one file. What it looks like, what tables you have, right? Means that schema is basically the table. Remember, I show you the table study, right? ID, name, email, whatever. So that is the schema. Schema is the blueprint for our table. So just read through that. Installation, how you can install Prisma, right? npm install Prisma, then you have to initialize it, npx prisma init, you have to run this command, and then change the review Prisma folder, right? And then you're gonna get some folder, okay, like Prisma folder and .env file after doing these two steps. And then you just make some changes there. Prisma config, I believe, I don't know if that is the name or not, but look like Prisma config or config Prisma something, right? We'll look at that. You can do that. Add the connection string of your database to the env file. Add schema for your table, right? So when you have to create table like user table or to do table, whatever, then run npx prisma migrate dev, right? Once you have created the schema, then run this command so that it will sync with the database. Then generate the client, Prisma client, right? So Prisma client is basically creating the object for your use case inside your program, right? So run that one and done. Almost, I think you don't have to do this, but you can, even you do, it's not a problem, right? npx prisma database push, right? So if you have something, like we created the table, by doing migration, it will just sync with the database, right? Even if we don't do that, it should be okay, but depends on the database. Sometimes you have, let's say, MySQL, then I think we have to do this, or in the MongoDB, right? So just remember that npx prisma studio, what that does, it will, right, give you the basically list of tables and the data, right, in our browser. It will just print out in the browser. Okay? We'll look at that also. So this is all. Okay, this here is the assignment, right? Assignment is create a schema for user and to do, create API to do the CRUD operation, and use Postman as a front end application to perform the CRUD operation. Just test, right? Use the Postman to test your code by adding, updating, deleting, and all that, right? All the operation. Okay, fine. So just reading part too much, right? How are we gonna know how to use all these things? That's the question, right? So let's do the practical. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create the project folder in the GitHub, right? Same project folder we're gonna start using from next week as our project. Okay, let's do that. What I'm gonna do is I don't know how to move this. All right, so let me go to the GitHub. I'm here already, right? But let me try again. So I'm going to create one project, okay, and that project will be our next week project, starting project, right? I'll just use that one. Okay, sign in. I don't know why it asks me. You already signed in to this account, right? Fine. Repository. Let's create a new folder, and that will be what the project name will be, right? No, I think let's call it issue tracker. We have call it there, right? So call it fix. Fix issue, right? Fix issue, something like that is okay. App to track the issue of the service, right? Issue of the, let's call it in issue of anything, right? In issue of any service, okay, any kind of work, right? If there is a lot of issue need to be fixed, bug, right? So if you have started the, let's say, computer maintenance company or website service, right? So people can just log in there and then start, adding some kind of issue there. So you can just contact them and assign the job to someone, and then somebody can go there and fix the issue, right? Once the issue is fixed, it come back and just update the system. So something similar to that service, any service. That's the public repo. I'll just create a reading file and create, right? Okay, so I'll clone this. So let's go to the, let's open the another window. File, open folder, and so I don't know where I put the GitHub, right? Felicia, GitHub clone, GitHub clone, right? So this will be here. So when we did any project, right? When we have done any project in the classroom, I just added here, okay, inside my GitHub folder. So I will just clone in the same place, git clone, and right click, and it will clone the project, right? So you can see here now fix issue, right? So I will just open this, or I will change the directory here, cd fix issue, enter, right? Now the first step is installing the Next.js project. So if I have to install Next.js, what I will do, I think I have here, right? Installation. Just open the Next.js website, installation. If you remember this, very good. If not, look at this, right? npx create next app at the latest. That's the one. So I'll just click here, and I will do dot slash. Why? Because I want to install, right, the package here inside this fix issue folder. Okay. One thing I need to do is delete this one, because remember, Next.js will generate a readme file later for us. So if you have this one here, it will be conflict and your installation will be stuck. So delete that. Fine. Space dot slash. That means in the current directory install Next.js. Enter. So would you like to use TypeScript? Yes. ESLint? Yes. Tailwind? Yes. Source directory? No. Up app, right? App router? Yes. And alias? No, right? I mean, no means customize. I don't want to do customize. Okay, I just want to use the default one, right? At the rate. So just keep it no customize. So it will take maybe a few minutes. Now everyone feel comfortable installing Next.js project, correct? Okay, so it's very simple. We have done this before also. What I'm going to do is run the code now, right? So, or basically start the development server, npm run dev. Very simple. And let's follow this link. So it will be live now, right? Yeah, so you see this. So what I will do, I will just remove clean our project. Let's go back here. So in the fix issue, inside the app, there is a page, right? I'm going to delete everything inside the return, okay? Because this is the export default function home. We know the component will return something, right? That is this HTML. So I will gonna collapse here and delete this main section. And what I will do is I just put the div, right, and add heading one and call it home page, right? That's it. I don't need this image import right now. Delete that. Go to layout, and you can change here, right? Just call it you know issue tracker app. something, you can just put description, right? Okay, so that is all. We don't have to do anything here for now, right? Let's save this. What I want to do is go back to the css and remove everything here. We don't need all. Make sure you never delete this one. Okay, these are the three components used by the tailwind. If you don't have this, it's not gonna work. Remember that. Fine. So now our project should look something like this, right? Nothing else. So what we will do is, today we are learning about prisma, right? So I just gonna create the new terminal here. So let's look at the command. Okay, what is the command? uh, let's see here, where is that? Npm install prisma, right? Npm install prisma. So I'll just run this code now. Npm install, because prisma is also the node package manager. Remember, it runs in the node.js, right? It may be running in any other server. Okay, there are different servers, right? We're learning, all our work is related to node.js, javascript. That's the programming language. JavaScript is our programming language, and node.js, right, is the server we use. Even next.js, anything we learn, right, there is a node.js server running in behind. Okay, so npm install prisma. What is prisma? It's just the software package, right? So from the node package manager website, it will just install that one. Install. Oh, okay. I think I'm in the wrong place, right? Yeah. I should have changed this one. Remember that? Control C. Because I created the new terminal, right? And I didn't switch to the fix issue. I have to go there, and I will keep trying to install and install in this folder right outside, and that was not good. So better I cancel, right? So I will run again. Npm, you just put I, right, is okay, or write install, and prisma. This is one command you have to do, right? And there is one more, and then you, I mean, there are a couple of, but let's say, then after npm, right, once you install prisma, you can check. Okay, you just go back and check inside your package json. Let's see if it is installed, right? Look at here, it installed prisma. Okay, so the next thing is npx. Now you execute, right? Npx, not npm, right? Npm means install package from node package manager, but npx means just initialize something, right? Like just run something in the backend, right? Npx prisma, run the prisma, basically initialize the prisma, right? So what it will do now, it's going to do two things. It will create a folder called prisma and init file, right? So look at that. So it creates the folder called prisma and env file, .env file. Okay, so first we will look at the prisma, right? Inside the prisma, so the schema.prisma, right, that is the file name. I did not remember, and I don't know what I put there. So something I put somewhere, right? Prisma.config. Okay, so that should be prisma.schema, right? Schema.prisma. Okay, I will change that later. That's the file you get. So inside this file, data source. So which database you want to use? Postgres SQL. That is what we're going to use, because that's what we have installed in our computer right now. That is all you have to change. Or you want to use MySQL, right? Just type MySQL. That's it. Or you want to use MongoDB. Type, look for EMO, right? It gives you the suggestion. Okay, that's it. MongoDB. So I'm going to use for now PostgreSQL. Good. And look at this one, right? It says read the URL from env file stored in this variable, in this name, right? Database URL inside the env. So let's look at the env here, right? And see, that's the same name, and there is the URL now, right? Look at that. So remember PostgreSQL, that's the name of the basically like which database we are using, right? That is the name of the database, PostgreSQL, the software, right? The server. Who is the user now, right? So okay, so let's go to the uh, what was that, SQL cell, right? I mean, you can find from here. So that is localhost. That is localhost. The server is running in the localhost. What is the port name, right? So I'll just enter here. Database name is Postgres, right? Postgres database, Postgres. So that I can change. Okay, I can create any database, right? That I can change. That does not matter. Port is 5433, so I must run in that port, right? Because my server runs in 5433. I will give the new database name here, and let's call it fix bug, right? Something like that, or is okay. That's my database name, and leave rest here. The only thing need to change now, right, is username is Postgres. That's the username, okay? So because I have not created the new user, that is what I'm using, so I'll leave it that. I'll just change the username here, that is Postgres, and the password of my database now, right? So that will be Bob 12345 6. Good to go. So that's it. Just change the username here. That's the password and the port, right? You can add the new database name also, because how it gonna work, right? First it will create the database. Remember, we create the user database yesterday, and inside you create a user table or whatever table you want to create, right? So the fixed issue is the database name, and inside you're gonna add many more table, right? Or we can call it, maybe let's not write like that, let's call it fixed issue, right? I mean, that should work also, does not matter. Fix. Okay, leave it same. Okay, fix. What was that? Okay, fix, right? Fix issue. I will leave it like that. It's okay. So this is the one you have to change. Postgres. That is the user. What user you want to use to connect with your database? What is the password of that user? This is the local host, and this is the port you want to use, right? And done. Once we have finished that one, now it's time to write schema. So just right here in the same file you can write everything. All right. So this is the model. Let's call it user. I want to create a user, right? So use a capital U with no S here, just user, and then ID will be integer and at the rate, that is the basically ID, right? Like unique ID. And what will be the value? So it will be generated automatically, right? So at the rate default. If something is automatic, you just put the default here, and like auto increment, or there is something like ff something fix, there are few more options, right? But let's keep it auto increment, and so you can even put here string also, right? Not only this, you can even put here string if you want. Okay, let string, and that should be the ID, and a default, right? Default will be UUID, I believe. UUID, right? Yeah. So you can write also, that will also work. So you will get long string kind of ID. Okay, so for now I will just keep it the let's say integer. Okay, that's the number, right? And this is type of ID, and at the rate default and auto increment. So this column, right, will be automatically added. Next, let's call it username, or maybe yeah, so let's make it first name, maybe something like that. What we're gonna put first name? Yeah, so that will be string, right? And even you can you know you can define the size of this string, so that will be at the rate db, right? And then you're gonna get the option. So where that is maximum is 255 character, right? So here I will just put it maybe 50 character. So no one can put the first name more than 50 character. Okay, if more than 50 character, there should be uh, type checking, and we should receive the error message. The data will be not added here. So you can have last name string, right? Now you do the same thing. So in the beginning, it may be a little bit like, okay, it's difficult to write all this, because even for me it took a long time to understand, right? But once you have all this format one time, you can copy paste, basically the data. You can find this model, right, somewhere, even if you go to the prisma website. Okay, so this is the user, right? That's how you write in the constructor way, right? When you build things. But in the prisma, let's say here, simple, string. If something is like, for example, let's say maybe you can add name or null, right? If data is needed, sometimes you can add, sometimes you can leave it blank. Then you just put optional. That is optional symbol, right? Question mark. So it's okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'll just leave it simple name here, and delete this. No need to put first name, last name. We are Then you can add email, right? Email, that will be string at the rate db dot varchar variable character, right? So we maybe let's make it 100. Then password string, right? At the rate db, and you can add variable character. That will be also, let's make it maybe password cannot be more than, like maybe make it 20, right? uh, yeah, so what else we can add? Created add, right? So let's get created add, created add, right? Created add, and this will be date time. Okay, and what date time? So because when it creates, let the database insert the date automatically from the server date, put it in there, right? So that should be default, and will be now, right? That function will add whatever now date. Now what is the time and date now, right? It will just put inside that column. Okay, let's say you update the user sometimes, right? So you can even have update when updated at, right? And date time, and it has, whenever you updated at, it has the default value also updated at. So in that time it will update, right? Okay, so yeah, so we're done with the user table, right? So let's do one thing now. What we're gonna do is, what is the next step? So that's how you define the schema. So the next step is, we have done all this, right? We did that. So npx prisma migrate dev now, right? So that is what I was mean, this user table, now you want to sync with your database. As long as this string everything is okay, right? And you have this provider, that is database provider. Which one is we using? Postgres or whatever you want to use, even MongoDB, right? It's okay. You just have to put MongoDB here and put that string. Remember the link to connect the MongoDB. Put here and good to go, right? The rest Prisma will take care for us. So just call Prisma, not npx. Now only one time you're gonna use npm install Prisma. The rest is always npx Prisma, always, right? Prisma migrate and development, right? Dev, migrate dev, right? So just put that, see what happened. So it just, so database fix is created at, so look at here. So Postgres SQL database fix is created at localhost 5433. That is good. Just give the name of migration, right? So I will call it issue maybe one, right? This is the first time. Just give some name. This is the first migration, and that's it. So if you go now, right, it creates the folder called migration, and inside here, right, it added some migration SQL. Look at that. And if you open this SQL file, right, so we know this now from yesterday. Primary key is that ID, serial number, whatever, right? Serial varchar. So this is the way we have to write like SQL query, right? Creating the table in the SQL language, okay? But because of Prisma, the simple, easy write like this, and it will take care all that conversion, everything. Fine. So we don't have to do anything here, right? Let's close that. But you see what happened now. So the next one is generating the generating what the okay. Let's generate, right? Npx Prisma, right? Generate. I think npx Prisma generate. Yeah, generate. Generate. So what happened now? The Prisma will scan all our this schema file, right? Basically, and it will generate the object for us. So it just generate the Prisma client now, right? It just generate the Prisma client for us, and it is stored somewhere here. Okay, I believe inside this node module, right? Somewhere here, the Prisma client inside here, right? There is a file somewhere here, and you can call that and use it, right? But we're not going to use that one. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create our own client here. I mean, you have to do this one, right? Because that's going to scan all our like you're going to need this one, okay, to do the type checking for all this field, right? Sometimes in your project you need this user to add something to the table, to update, delete, and all that, right? You're going to need this. So who does that, right? Who going to help us to connect here? That is the Prisma client, what we just generate, right? So we're going to create our own client now. So let's just in the Prisma folder, what we will do is create something called client. You can name it anything, okay? Client.ps, right? And inside here, you're going to put the code. What code I'm talking about? Let me search again, right? So I will call it npx Prisma client, right? I mean Next.js Prisma client, best practices, this one, this code, right? So see, import Prisma client from @Prisma client, right? Look at this. So the reason we generate, right? The reason we have generated that, it is inside our program already, right? Inside our what do you call that? Inside our code already. Okay, when you do npx prisma generate, it will generate the client for us. So it's already in the system, but you still need to install. For type checking, we have to install, I believe, this one, right? So let's copy this and put it here. That is all you have to do, right? Now, why this code? Okay, that's the problem. I mean, that's the reason, right? Why we have to do this much code, right? Why? See, in Next.js, right, there is something called loading, or it creates the every time when the code is loaded, right? The Prisma client, what gonna happen? It will load the schema in our memory. Now, Next.js, what it does is it keep the copy of the data whatever loaded, right, in the memory. So if there are already client created, right, and Next.js will be keep loading things all the time, keep fetching data in the back. So what gonna do, it will do, it will run that client many times, and it's gonna create the instance like this one, right, many times in the memory. And there will be problem now, right, because you're gonna have so many instance. Now it's gonna be some kind of issue. Okay, so to avoid that one, right, we just write this nice code. What it will do is it will check, it will just check, right. Let's see here, it's gonna get the prisma client, import from this one. So let's install this first, right. Just install this. Let's go back here. I will just install, right, npm install this. So this one also you have to install it. Okay, then there will be, I think there was no error, right? So maybe I don't know, because I run the npm npx generate prisma, right? So sometimes I believe that automatically download and load everything, but before, I get issue, right, that this client was not found. So I have to manually install it here, and it worked, right? So if you find error here, like the wiggling line, then just go ahead and install this one, and that will fix the problem. Okay, if you don't find, then it's okay, right? That's okay. So it will check always in the global memory, right? It will check if there is the prisma client something, right, if there is something or not. Okay, it will check. So here, right, it's creating the global here, global this, calling that whatever you declare. This is that declare as type checking. Here is a type checking, but uh, this one, right, look at this function, prisma client, we're just returning here. Then we will check either we have this instance in the memory, right? If we have this, then use this one, or just create the new one, right, and then return that prisma. Okay, if there is already something, the client in the memory, then use that. If not, create a new one. Okay, so that is all we're doing right here. Okay, and returning that client. This is just the object now, right? So I believe something with the production, I don't know what is that, right? Just in the simple term, right, it will check in the memory. If there is a client created already, then use that one. If not, return the new one, right? That is all. So in that way, we're not going to have many prisma client created in the memory. So this code will fix that issue. Okay, just put it here, and we're good to go now. So that was the one step, not one, but one thing we have to do. So until now, what we have done, we just install the prisma, initialize it. We created the, basically we make changes to our database URL here. Then what we have done now, in the prisma we make schema for the user. done, right? So yeah, we almost finished now. Okay, so what we can do now is let's run npx prisma studio, right? Studio. So this will display the our table, okay, in the browser, right? So it will just give you that link, and look at that. We get that user table, right, inside the database. We just have one schema, okay? Click on that, and you'll see ID, name, email, password, created, add, updated, add, right? So even I can add here now, right? I can add the record, I can add the record. Oh, sorry, it just added the empty record, right? Look at here. Created, add, updated, add. But I'm going to delete that now, right? Delete, add record, and then I'm going to do, this is auto, right? Auto increase. Go next. Name will be robot Welker. Email, let's make it robot at gmail.com. Password, let's make it 123456. Done, right? Add another record, maybe let's call it user1, user1 at gmail.com. Maybe password 123456, something like that. Now save the record, right? And done. So okay, see, I deleted the first one, right? Because it created the one ID before in the beginning. I delete, so ID is 2 and 3, right? Keep track of all that, okay? So let's check our data, right? Inside the, see if there is something or not, okay? So I'm still here. I'll just enter password, right? So I think, what was the password? Bob, right? Okay, B Bob at 123456, enter. And I don't know what is the error. Oh, maybe it long time waiting, right? So it will just lost the connection, okay? But try again. Enter username Postgres and password Bob, not at the rate 123456 and we are here, right? So how we check the number of table? How we check, guys? Okay, let's just, I will switch, right? See to the, what is the name of our table we put here? So when you create the, I mean, this is the user, right? But what is the name of the database? That's what we have to know, correct? So the database was in the, here we just added fixed issue, right? So let's switch to that fixed issue directly. Issue. See, I'm inside the fixed issue now, right? And then if I do slash d, I believe, and inside you can find the user table and some other information. There is 3 rows basically, right? So I added one and I delete, but there is 3 rows, right? So now we can, I mean, you can even do all that CRUD operation here, right? You can check if you want, like uh, what was that? What was the command, guys? I don't remember. Okay, so let me check quickly. I mean, we can, let me see. Not, I mean, we're not going to create anything. We just, what I want to do is the read, right? I think the find, correct? Let me check. Okay, so we can go back here and see how we can read the insert, update, delete, select. Okay, select, right? That's the one. So because I'm already in the this fixed issue table, right? Or basically database, I can say select from my select from, right, and then you write the name of the table, that is user. Okay, select from user and then semicolon, right, enter. So user postgres one row. I don't know why it did not display all everything. Yeah, it will be user users. No, does not exist, right? So that is just the user. But you can see here now, right? It's just displaying the user and one row, but it did not display the whole information. Okay, so maybe I'm just doing something wrong, right? Or let's do this one. Okay, select from users where id equal to maybe 2, right? So let's try that. User, so where where id equal to 2, and put this and enter, right? I just hate this thing, right? When I have to use this command line, I just, something is not correct. Okay, let me try something again. Select select from user where id equal to 2, and yeah, so something is not giving me the, I don't know why. So I will make it a space here. So we have id, right? We have the id. I don't know why just giving error. Anyway, just leave it. I mean, you see that database is connected to our PostgreSQL and it's working now. Now, what we're gonna do is, I mean, that is all I want you guys to do, right, for today. And then, I mean, these things we can do here, like creating the users, all that, right, and creating the API and testing. So that will be again get long time, right? I mean, let me show you quickly. So now, if we need to create any API, right, in the next years, how we can create, because we're not gonna go and add data through the here, right, in the terminal. You're not gonna do that. How you gonna add data? You're gonna have a website, right? For example, you just go to here, let's say e5code.com, right? You go here, and then maybe you're doing something, right? Something, let's say uh, log out. So you're gonna register, right? Let's say you want to register here. So you're gonna add some information, correct? And then create the new user, right? You want to do that. So in that case, how are you gonna send data from here inside your database? That's the question, right? How are we gonna send data from here inside your database? So we learned how to create API in the Express before, right? We have done that. But in Next.js, how we can do that? So how it work, right? Remember this app? This app says, the app router, right? It says you just create one folder here called API. Okay. And inside, right, you structure your API now. So if this API is about user, so just add maybe folder called user, right? User. And inside this user, you're gonna add the file. The name is same always, raw.ts, right? That's it. And now you write your code for the API, right? So because now you have what? These three things: create, read, update, delete now, right? So you're gonna write all this API code inside this route now. So you might have like delete and update with the ID. So we'll look at how you do that, right, differently. Uh, okay, let's keep it up to here, right? Because it will get too long. What I want you guys to do is basically read through this, right? Let's go back. Where is that? Here. Just read through this, then create the project right in your GitHub. Clone that one, install the Prisma, and just check all that, right? Just check, just create this, maybe this schema. Do everything what we have done, right? And go online and check if you can add the data or not, right? Okay, just do that one. Tomorrow, what we're gonna do, right? Tomorrow will be our tomorrow is, because Friday I asked you guys to work on the project, right? So tomorrow, okay, tomorrow we're gonna do with some API, and also we're gonna learn about the. I want to, because in the project we're gonna use Redux UI, right? Redux Redux UI. So okay, let's do this. We're gonna do the API a little bit, and then we're gonna look at this library, right? Redux UI. Okay, this is what we're gonna use in our project. All right. So I'll just stop here, guys. It will be fun. I mean, it's not like difficult. See, until now I have not written any code, right? So it's just a process. You have to practice enough to memorize all that, right? That is all. Okay. And it's very, I mean, this is what the companies using, right? The big companies, that's what they use to do their job. Okay. And after completing this one project, as I said, we're gonna take enough time. We're gonna learn all the technology, right? Like Next.js, you're gonna learn everything there. We're gonna start each step from basic, right? And create something you understand each steps, memorize that, move to the next step. One project, 100%, and you will feel different. Okay, that's my goal. I hope you all gonna support me, and we're gonna work hard, right, for next 2 to 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks, I can say, because we're still gonna learn a lot of things in the middle, right? Like validation of the code we have not done here yet, right? So we're just gonna learn there. Next, authentication system, right? Basically how you're gonna log in, log out, create, register, or log into the account, right? All that. Okay, so how you're gonna do all these things, we're gonna learn during our project. So all right, I will stop here, guys. Any questions, please let me know, right?